Well, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for our new knowledge session. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and we are happy to partner with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abingdon to offer this series of professional development workshops to new and existing businesses. If you're not familiar with this program and it's your first time joining us, welcome. This series started in 2014 to support the Washington County Business Challenge and has become one of the longest running professional development workshops within the Commonwealth. And we do have guests coming to us, not just from Southwest Virginia, but from other parts of the Commonwealth. So welcome and thanks for joining us. Now, before I introduce our speaker today, I wanted to let you know that in order to keep this webinar flowing and to stay within our 1 hour time frame, we have muted everyone. However, we want to hear from you. And if you have a question for our presenter today, if you will please post those in the Q&A section, we will address those at the end of the session. I am pleased today to have Jack Barrows, owner of 128 Pecan. Jack was born and raised here in Abingdon and started his restaurant career in the back in the kitchen as a dishwasher in high school, and then went to culinary school. And now 35 years later, he is still making it happen and has seen, and I'm happy that he's sharing his experience, the highs and lows of the industry with us today. So Jack, thanks for joining us. And I will say that one of Jack's mottos is it takes a village. And I think he's probably learned and experienced that more this year than any other year in business. So Jack, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Well, hello all. My name is Jack Barrows. I'm the chef owner of 128 Pecan in Abingdon. I'm here to talk a little bit today about how, the business has changed since all this began. We came into 2020 and it was, it was a stellar. I mean, it had started off to be quite an amazing year. I'd always had a little goal set for January, and that was the first time we've been in business 8 years now that we hit that goal for January, and February was rolling right along. And then, the Saturday before all this hit, we had 300 people roll through the door, and it was interesting. There was talk about all this around, but nothing had really kind of clicked. But then I was watching the news on Sunday, and I saw one of the health correspondents for the site channel I was watching. They were talking about how you needed to eat in a restaurant and how you needed to approach restaurants. And I knew at that point the business would change. That put restaurants front and center of, what all was going on. So anyway, you just, you make adjustments, and going into it, it was all supposed to be for about 2 weeks. Well, of course, that's, we've since gone past that mark for sure. It is a daily challenge. It's the blanket of uncertainty is quite far reaching. So anyway, but my page button is not working, I guess. Let's see.
You see an arrow button, or just hit your space bar and see if that will work.
Do what now?
Is there an arrow button that goes to your right, or hit your space bar and that may. I tell you what, Jack, would you like for me to bring it up on my screen, on my computer, and run it?
As long as I can see sure, that's fine. Shoot.
There we go. And
There
you
we
just say, you just tell me when you want to go to the next slide.
Okay. So this is some images of the restaurant here. You know, you can see the one to the far left. That's the bar before all this, you know, somewhat came down. We're a popular local spot. I was born and raised in Abingdon, so there's a lot of family history here, a lot of stories to tell, whatever. So, you know, needless to say, the bar was, you know, had a lot of tchotchke in it, and everything had a story, and there was pictures and quirky signs and this and that and whatever. And, you know, our mailbox, that's our address, is 128 Pecan Street. And, you know, and then, you know, the one to the right, I mean, people could come out, they could sit together, they would have a good time, you know. And so that's kind of what we were. We were kind of the fun local, quirky little, it had somewhat of a beach feel to it, you know, just because all the, you can see there's a deer there with Christmas lights in it, and, you know, and this and that. And we had rubber ducks everywhere. And so that's kind of the, you know, was the tone of the restaurant. And, you know, it was a very much a screen door policy. Hey, folks, how are you today? Welcome, you know. It was fun. It was loud. It was music. It was, you know, and, you know, and then it somewhat kind of came to a, you know, a halt. I guess the day it changed was when the governor had just, I guess, called the state of emergency. And that day I actually had 6 employees just not come back. No phone call, no anything. They just didn't come back. And it was kind of an adjustment, because I said, oh my gosh, you know, are we going to be able to even have people to work to stay open? But, you know, I had a crew of about 7 that stuck with me, and we called ourselves the long haulers. So we, you know, hunkered down and, you know, basically just made it happen. So if you want to go to the next one, that's fine. So basically, you know, we went for a period of time, which was just, you know, outdoor dining only. And, or actually for the longest time, it was just carryout only. And then it moved to the point of, you know, you could go to outdoor dining. So, you know, this was very early on in all this. And so basically we just kind of roped off our parking lot and set tables, you know, well more than needed apart. And that, you know, and that was the first of the move, because everybody at this point is still kind of going, wow, what are we doing, you know? And, you know, we somewhat settled into that. And, you know, we did to go quite a bit, you know, which was a different format. You know, the hard part about it is to go is much more labor intensive. And to have had your labor cut and this and that, you know, it was quite a dynamic there for a while of just getting the new kind of way of doing business, you know, get it going. But we stepped into it and we embraced it and, you know, made it happen. So you can, if you want to go, yeah. So during that time, you know, we ensured we had gift cards, you know, masks, I mean, that's basically the crew I had right there. You know, and we came in every day to the unknown and basically just, you know, did what we could do, you know, and thankfully, you know, we were well supported and we continued, you know, keep on keeping on, you know. But during that time, you know, the use of the internet and our restaurant's Facebook page was a huge thing that, you know, normally I'll kind of steer against stuff like that, but we really had to jump in head first on that and keep people, you know, informed. We had to keep them somewhat entertained, you know, to make light of what all was going on. Every day it was something different. So, you know, so we kind of jumped into that. I think the next picture is kind of what we did. So basically, we post the lunch specials and the dinner specials, a picture of each on the Facebook page. So what I would do is I would go pick out just old, images. Of course, Lily Tomlin, you can't beat that one, One Ringy Dingy. But anyway, so what we would do is we would post this picture, and then I'd say, well, Carla's working the phones tonight, give her a call, and just make that play on it. And people they got a kick out of that, one of my waitresses, Liz, she was Joni Mitchell one day, or I was like Poncho from Chips, just something to make light of what was going on. And people really keyed into it and look forward to seeing what was going on, and that kind of kept the momentum as far as, keeping people up with the to-goes and things like that. So that was fun. Here's some other examples of just, kookiness that but that's somewhat the place. It's pretty much kooky. It would tie into people's past, it would tie into good times, it would just, things that people had probably forgotten about. Three's Company and Heart to Heart, and Stephanie Powers running around in that Mercedes convertible with her box phone. It's just those type things, which was just fun to throw into the mix, just to get through it. So anyway, so that worked out really well. So before all this hit, I had an area to the left of the restaurant in which I just needed to level the parking a little bit because you had to kind of pull down into it and people were having a hard time getting out. So, unbeknownst to me, it actually turned out very well that, we did this because it somewhat leveled it up and allowed for parking, a little bit better along the side. And then, as we get more into this, we're still pretty much all to go at this point. But once we started getting the, you kind of hear through the vine that, okay, well, I think they're going to go to outdoor dining. Then that's when basically we had to start thinking, okay, what can we do? So how can I utilize this area? The window, when we first began it, the window was always key in my process on that, because I said, there's something I can do with that window there, the one above the bench. But not everything had really kicked in yet. In other words, people were still kind of like, what are we doing? And so basically at that point, what we would do would, you would basically just pay over the phone and we would just sit your food on a table, because at that point people were not really even wanting to see people. They just wanted to pick up their stuff and leave. And so that's what we did there. We, kind of, instead of having parking, what we did is we just made it a drive-through just right up the alley there. So when you're looking at that, you're just looking at, they would just drive right up the alley. They could pull in, grab their food off the table, and then head up the alley. So, I've never used so many to-go boxes in my life. So it's those type things that, where when you're used to putting food on a plate and then all of a sudden all aspects are in a box, it's interesting. So we did have to change the menu a little bit because of that. Certain items just don't travel. They just don't travel well at all. So, we made some adjustments as far as that, and, having to make sure everything's labeled and checked and this and that and whatever. And then once in the mix, they let it to be where you could have drinks to go. So as you can see on the left there, we started a drinks to go program, and we did margaritas, rum punch, and cosmopolitans. And that was kind of a fun thing. Everybody enjoyed that. They could come get something to eat, basically a quarter margaritas and head to the house. So that was, and all this is going on is and with the thought in mind that this was a couple of weeks of, and it'll be over. Well, then needless to say, it kept on. So, we still do the drink things. We still offer to go, most definitely. And, you just kind of had to roll with it because every day was just, you didn't know what you would walk into. This goes back to the little table that we had. I mean, it was kind of just, it was just kind of a table, basically. We did the drinks, and we just continued on. So this goes back to one of the ads that we were doing, well, not really ads, but, captions that I would put to a picture that would relate to what we were doing, And so this is one, where they were going to get the rum punch, and then they had chicken. I mean, you couldn't beat it. He was eating chicken anyway. So that was kind of fun. So these type things, people really keyed into it. It was fun, and then I enjoyed doing it. It was a way for me to kind of, keep a little bit of my sanity because, when you wake up one day and your business is gutted, it's kind of like, wow. So anyway, we kept on with that, and, so that's been fun. So then here we're getting to the window. So, at this time in the scheme of what was going on, people were not the idea of going into a place they just weren't comfortable with. So I said, okay, we've got to figure this out. So we had the table there, but then when it rained or it was this or it was that, then, the people had to come in and out, it got us through a period of time. And then this was the next phase here. And basically I had a window that became a pickup window. So we roofed it and we put, weather guards on the side and, and people really keyed into that because, everything that you see is kind of puts light to what the tone was or what was happening, during this whole process, okay, well, people are starting to feel, okay, I can go out now and I just want to pick it up. So basically, we couldn't have people inside. So we continued on with this. And then to this day, that wind is still there and quite popular. So, we got to quirk it up a little bit. Pickup window, we put a little roof on it. Of course, you can see the rubber duck sitting there. There's Santa, So it fit what, though you couldn't come inside, it still had it still felt like what it did inside. There's mistletoe hanging there. It's just kind of quirky, but it worked out well for us. We put a gutter on it, could keep people from getting wet if it was raining. So it was nice. People could just pull up. Somebody's in the passenger seat. They could, just pop out, grab it and go, A lot of people, they just pay over the phone, which is great. That's, that way everything's just taken care of. It's grab and go for sure. So from there, the earlier picture was the front parking lot. And that was just unfortunate trying to do that because it's on a slant. But now we've got the takeout window. And I do have this level area there. So, basically outdoor dining, it kind of moved up to this area. I got some more appropriate tables and chairs and had them spaced and this and that. That would be the, north side of the building, but the sun pretty much keeps it all day. So we got umbrellas, things like that. But, when you're outdoor only, an umbrella doesn't really help you much in a rainy day. So, but once again, everything it was just based on what was happening at the time, what the tone was, and you just kind of had somewhat roll with it a little bit. So this was our first, truly more uh, permanent outdoor seating area, because it was level, this and that. So from there, we got, patio. That's what I call the patio. But anyway, so from that aspect of it, the umbrella and the sun and the humidity here is kind of a bear. So anyway, I said, well, I need to, and with the alcohol service, you need to have a divider or a barrier of somewhat, just to keep people from, So we ended up building a patio area that, it turned out super. So once we had gotten in more so into the summer of it, then and then the longevity of all this was definitely setting in, that this is going to, be an issue. That's when the jump in head first was, let's just put a patio on the building and be done with it. So I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I just basically tied right into the side of the building. The to-go windows in place. So patio is 3.0 right there, but there's going to be a 3.0 and 3/4, because what I'm going to probably do this winter is to the to-go window now. What's going to happen is that will become a door, because right now, to service the people on the patio, you have to walk down the ramp and then go around and walk and this and that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the roof on the carryout window. I'm going to tie that into the roof of the patio, and then that way they can just come in and out, and it's a much easier traverse than it is to go traipsing around everywhere. But it's been very well, accepted. People like it. And actually, what's interesting about it is a nice breeze actually stays through there. We get a lot of business from the Virginia Creeper Trail. A lot of people are like in their bike garb and muddy and this and that. And for the most part, they prefer to sit outside, because they don't feel like they're not comfortable sitting inside and, bike gear and all that. So, but that's done very well for us. We have 4 tables out there. It'll seat about 12 people, and they're spaced. So that works out well for us. And, once again, we keep on. This was a private party we did one day. And so everybody knew everybody. That's the good on that one. So, and people enjoy it. And it's, I have to be honest, it was good to see people, So this is like, once again, when we first started, we put up, plexiglass, and the whole dynamic was just kind of like, okay, how do we get through this? And then you just kind of, as you can see now in the bar area, you can see this is the same shot where it used to be. I had an old swag light and wind chimes and, basically tchotchke everywhere. I felt that as this continued on, and once we were to be out of this, I felt that people would want a little bit more cleanable, or the appearance of clean. And it's definitely, so during this time when we were outdoor, carry out only, basically we repainted the entire restaurant. Floors, ceilings, everything. We I had a air conditioning unit in the basement. And so people would always, all the air's blown on me. So I basically put a unit in the attic while we were all carry out. And it's got a ultraviolet filter on it to filter the air and this and that. So it's much more streamlined now, much more cleanable, without all the tchotchke hanging. It actually appears to be much bigger, which is, nice. And so that's a nice thing that people are kind of, appreciative of. And I think it makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. So before we had tablecloths and, we used cloth napkins and, the restaurant itself inside, there's basically, it's an old house built in the 40s. And so each room had 4 tables. And so they would either seat 12 or 14 people. So inside we would seat 34 people. But once this kind of keyed in, of course, tablecloths are a thing of the past. And we now use a disposable napkin to where we don't have to have a bunch of linen around. And so this is kind of, once we've, streamlined and the tablecloths are gone, we have bleach stations, everything's been painted, cleaned, and, this and that. So it was nice. I mean, not only was this, we're still in it. Not only has this been a challenge, but it has been an opportunity. I mean, how many times can you just, still be open for business, but paint your entire restaurant? So that's been a nice, it was a good opportunity. And so that really, helped us. As far as the bar, I used to have a wooden bar top. I went in and I put granite. I used to have all these little crazy messed up shelves in the back. Anyway, so we went and we put stainless steel shelves in, really kind of just, there was stuff hanging everywhere in the bar. And so we basically, cleaned out a lot of that. At one point we had, what I did was we had round coasters. And what I would do is when people would come in, I'd ask them to do art on them, paint on them, or just whatever. And for every coaster that I did, or they would do, I would donate $5 to the local food organization. So that was actually a very, a very well received things. When I first opened, we did send a postcard and save a critter. So I'd just say, send us a postcard. And what I would do then is I'd donate $5 to the Humane Society. So that was kind of fun. And it allows people to be involved. And what was wild about that one, I mean, we hadn't been open 6 months, and we were getting like postcards from like Japan and all like these crazy places. It was fun. So, and that raised money for that. And that was fun. So we always, when I say it takes a village, being from Abingdon, a restaurant is not a business, it's a person's life. And, just to be able to be a part of the community like that. And, you have to be a part of the community. So, but we got it cleaned up and everything's kicking along. So we're open. We did special drinks for the barter. We do, we just kind of tie into whatever's going on in town. We'll do little things for the barter. I give the actors a discount on their meals and things like that. And, and because we're all in it together, we do that. There's our little rubber duck. That one's been everywhere. So, we support other businesses. Like this is our brewery in town. So I try to, I don't ever look at anything as competition. I think the more that people are around and are there, it gives more people, it gives a reason to come to Abingdon. Not only, other businesses, but like, we closed on the 4th. The people that stick with me, we, it's the restaurant business. It's rough, it's tough, and it's, and so we take opportunities. Years ago, I was probably a lot more go, 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 but now, it's okay to take an extra day and give everybody a long weekend. So, I think that's another opportunity that's been given to restaurant owners and businesses is that it's okay. The people that have stuck with me, have been troopers. And so I'll just basically, we'll all be talking around or whatever. And if I see that it's just been like kind of rough here or there, I'll just say, well, folks, let's just take a long weekend this weekend. And, gives everybody an extra day off. They can chill out, and so that's good. And it keeps the staff. It just, everybody deserves it, Before we went into this, we would average probably about, 270 to, on the weekends, we could do up to 400 people. And so that situation's changed, and it's okay to relax. It's okay, So that's a big thing now is you take care of yourself. And so, and, that was we're closed on Sundays and Mondays. But when we would come in on Tuesday, I'd always post this to say that we're back in the saddle again, and that here we are. And then I'd post the specials. And so, I kept it fun and light, and, it kept people engaged, the biggest, I guess, probably the biggest thing that, I'm probably a plan for the worst and hope for the best. And so I thankfully, went into this whole scenario with a buffer. And so that, took a little bit of a pressure off, but, you just keep on, and it's, and we see where it goes. So, and that's, if you know our name, you know where we are, 128 Pecan Street. So it, we keep on.
Well, thanks, Jack. I have a couple questions, and while I'm asking those, for those that are joining us, if you have questions for Jack, please post those in the Q&A or in the chat, and we'll make sure that we ask him more. And also, I'll let you know that we will share these slides and this video today. This is being recorded, will be up on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubators Facebook page, but it'll also be on our YouTube channel called New Knowledge. So there's a lot of great content on there. Jack, just a couple questions that I had. First of all, you mentioned that employees did not show up once the state of emergency hit. But what about over those first few weeks? How was it with your supplier network?
It was hit or miss. There's certain items that we just couldn't get anymore. So that was kind of not when I talked about making changes to, be more friendly to the to-go platform. We had to make changes that, to what we could get, basically. Yeah. So, it was awkward at best, but everybody was going through it. So you just kind of rolled with it every day. And people were understanding about that. They understood, some days you could get this, some days we couldn't. And you just had to be honest with your customer,
I heard that from other restaurant owners that even getting chicken breast was a challenge.
Yeah.
And of course, the PPE products that you've got to have for, your masks and your hand sanitizers and stuff like that. Those are not things that you budgeted for, that you've had to.
They've gone to $100 a case now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of wild. Yeah. So.
Well, another question I have is regarding cash flow. Most restaurants struggle with managing cash flow in normal, ordinary times, but now COVID-19 hit. How have you been able to survive since March to September now with just managing, having cash flow or keeping the doors open?
So, we had to make cuts. There's no doubt about that. We had to make cuts, but then in the same breath, so let's say we started here, and then each year we grew up into where we were in 2019. So at a certain point, this was our level of business in our growth. So basically, I just got with the accountant and we backed it up to when this was our sales, let's say, and then just basically looked at the margins and what we were doing then, and you just apply that to it. So you can't keep running the same way you were but at some point that's the way it was. So we just moved to that, that series of, percentages.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen the demise of many businesses, and it seems to continue weekly. And I think it's my hat's off that you planned ahead and had that little cushion to help you get through this. And it still will, I'm sure, be a struggle for the coming months. But there's a couple of statements, but no questions. But Jane Deering just wanted to comment that 128 Pecan is a wonderful business. We appreciate all he's done to adapt. He is a critical part of Abington's food scene. Everyone appreciates his quirkiness, keeps people coming back. And if you don't know Jane, she is the director of tourism for Abington. And Sarah Livingston just wanted to share that excellent presentation of before and after. Thanks for the photos. Love the creative ideas of using the reference to movies and reach out to customers. And Valentina, I will be happy to share with you she asked about a screenshot of your pictures of your pickup window. She's wanting to use it. She does a lot of webinars and training, especially in social platforms. So, Valentina, I'll be sure to make that you get the copy of Jack's presentation. You can have that information. She's going to be also using it for a case study. I don't see any other questions. But Jack, is there anything, over the past 6 months that you have seen, talking about a lesson learned, is there anything that you would share with folks that might help them? They've got to this far, but I'm just knocking my head against the wall. How am I going to survive? Anything that you could share, words of wisdom?
You just have to take it one day at a time, just be genuine and honest with your people and your customers. And, thankfully, after 35 years of doing it, I still love the business. And so, every day is something new. Take a deep breath, this has been a great opportunity for me just to slow down, it just find where you enjoy it, and just know that we'll make it out of it, so.
Well, great. I don't see any other questions or comments. I first of all want to thank you, Jack, for taking the time. I know this is the busy time of your day. getting ready for lunch and, of course, dinner. And folks, if you are joining us from other parts of the state and you come to Abingdon, please go by 128 Pecan. I guarantee that you will not leave there hungry, and you will have enjoyed a great meal. But thanks for sharing your words of wisdom and your experience getting through this. And to our guests, I know that you're having to take time out of your busy schedules to join us, and I thank you and hope that you've learned something. And if there's anything that we can do and this team of the New Knowledge program that we can help you, feel free to contact us. You've got my contact information through Zoom. Just want to do a plug for our next session that will be on September the 16th, and Mark Tipton with Edward Jones will be providing a market update. So if you want to learn of what's happening in not only the stock market, but to investing and how you can plan for your business going forward, I hope that you will join us on September the 16th. And we've got a full lineup of new knowledge sessions that will go through June the 2nd of 2021. So I hope you'll join us. And I do want to make a plug for tomorrow is another webinar series that is being done through Gen Edge, the Southwest Virginia Alliance for Manufacturing, UVA-WISE, Office of Economic Development, Virginia Community Capital, and the Virginia Small Business Development Center network that we're doing each Thursday at noon, called Refocus and Rebuild. And this is a 13-week series to help businesses kind of develop a resiliency plan. And tomorrow will be the 5th session. So if you have interest in that, I will include that in the email follow-up with Jack's presentation and today's video. But thanks again. And again, Jack, thank you so much. And again, it's great food, so I highly recommend. And with that, I don't see any other questions. We will call it a day. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.